Hey everyone, it's Chris, and welcome to another episode of my series covering his dark materials. We have quite a bit to go over in this one, so let's just jump in. If this is your first time here, I take TV shows and movies based on books and compare and contrast them to the source material, so there might be spoilers ahead. Viewer beware. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of my future videos, and click the notification icon to join the notification squad, as it were, and be the first to know when something new drops. Okay, first off, we're going to talk about Mrs. Coulter. So, just to get it out of the way, I love the actor who is playing this role in the show. Let's just get it out of the way. This is not about how she is portraying the character, but about how they have changed the character, and they being the writers. One of the big changes that I find odd is that in the novels, Mrs. Coulter has this ability to entrance people and their daemons, which is why she is the one in charge of abducting the kids. In the novels, she uses it against Lyra as well as the journalist that we see at the party in this episode. It was a really cool, intriguing ability that, coupled with her ability to be very, very far away from her daemon, made her character for me. It made her mysterious and different in a good way. So I'm a bit annoyed that they took that out. Next up, visiting another world. So yeah, this was a big one. Something like this doesn't happen until the second book for a number of reasons. It really kind of muddies the water when it comes to the story and setting up the larger world that this story exists in. For someone who has read the books, I'm sure it was pretty exciting. But for those who are experiencing the story for the first time through the TV show, that has got to be confusing and just taking the attention away from the story that matters right now, which is the North. So, not a fan. Next up, we have Lyra. Yeah, there are so many things from this episode. One of the bits that is the most disappointing for me, though, is how they handled her escape from Mrs. Coulter. While I quite liked the change that has her leaving via the window, given how it amps up the action and the danger, the fact that they had her leave with literally just the clothes on her back was a major letdown. In the novel, Lyra is aware and put together enough to grab clothes, a jacket, and some money so that she will be at least somewhat prepared for the ordeal ahead. This showed so much about her character and what she was made of, so to speak. Removing this removes something of the hero for me, which is a shame. The other big change is actually a good one, though, and that is Lyra's fixation on saving Roger. In the novel, she basically forgets him once again when she settles into daily life with Mrs. Coulter. Every once in a while, he will pop up in her mind, but just as quickly, he is pushed out by some exciting new development. In the novel, she leaves after learning who and what Mrs. Coulter really is, and because she was tired of being treated like a doll, or pet. Not really because she was angry about not finding Roger. I greatly prefer how they handled this in the show as opposed to the book. It's another great decision by the writers of the show, so bravo. Next up, we have Panto and the Golden Monkey. This was a curious change, but one I appreciated. In the novel, the battle, quote-unquote, between the two daemons is over almost immediately, with the monkey wrestling Panto to the ground and hurting him, which in turn hurts Lyra. Later in the novel, Panto tells Lyra that he will win the next time they tussle, and suggests some forms that he might turn into to help win the fight, which we actually see him turn into in the show. I like that we saw the struggle here. Instead of it being so one-sided as it is in the novel, it made things more real, since Panto would struggle with everything he has to save Lyra, prolonging the fight. So another fantastic change there. Next up, we're going to look at parentage. So this was a massive change to the story. Lyra does find out in this novel who her father is, But it is much later, and it's from the Egyptians that she finds out that she is the daughter of Lord Asriel. It's revealed during them explaining who she really is and her shared history with the Egyptians. I don't really know how I feel about the change. In one sense, it works well in the novel to have this come from the Egyptians, given what we find out about them and how they are integral to the storyline with the Gobblers. But it was also interesting to have Mrs. Coulter blurt it out in the middle of their fight. You know, if it was unintentional. You really can't tell with that woman. She's crazy. And lastly, speaking of crazy, I want to touch on how they are portraying the mental state of our dear Mrs. Coulter. In the novel, at least at this point, she is portrayed as essentially a psychopath, in my opinion. She feels no remorse for the things she has done, will do, and is doing, including how she is treating Lyra. I actually prefer how they have crafted her character in the show, giving her a more complex and nuanced psychological makeup. My favorite scene, though, is right after the fight she has with Lyra. You can see the emotion that she is constantly keeping in check, bubbling up to the surface, and how she regrets for a moment the way she has treated her. But that smile as she walks away from Lyra's door, that lets you know she is good and nuts, which means, at least in my opinion, she is good and dangerous. Okay, that is it for this one, and another fantastic episode, and one that tracks, except for the couple of places we've talked about in this video, tracks really closely with the source material. It's really surprising and refreshing to see how close they are tracking to the novel with this show. It's something you don't see often, especially executed as well as they are doing. So I am very much looking forward to the next couple of episodes, because the story really gets kicked into high gear during them. So very exciting to see what they're going to do. And of course, I'm waiting to see some polar bears, because that's everyone's part of this this book. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. I won't hold it against you. It's a free internet. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comments. And if you have a book you would like me to read or a TV show you would like me to review, please let me know as well in the comments, and I will try to get to it. Yeah, that is it for me. Have a great day until I see you again. Find a good book and read it, and tell me about it when you're done. Take it easy.